Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another mining company interview here on Investor Talk. Today I welcome Christopher Anderson, President and CEO of Ximen Mining. Welcome, Chris, in your virtual office from not too cold Germany to Canada.
Yes, thank you, Jan. Nice to be here.
Chris, we talk on a day where the markets are heating up. We have a very nice tailwind from the gold price. It's an environment to be in, or a market to be in right now. If you would describe the vision of Ximen, what do you plan in the next years? What is your vision? Where do you want to lead the company?
Well, we want to be into the gold, producing gold is where we'd like to be, Jan. That's our overall objective. We've been building the company over the last several years, buying assets in southern British Columbia, precious metal, high-grade assets that are easily accessible. Our plan has always been to avoid helicopters wherever possible. So we've got excellent infrastructure. It's easy to get to all our projects. And we've been focusing on opportunities in high-grade underground mining.
Those are some keywords. We come to those later. But before, I'd like to show to our audience where your properties are situated. Give me a second. This is taken from your website, and we see here your properties in southeastern British Columbia. Please give us a brief summary of your properties, and then after that we go more in detail.
Sure, absolutely. So our mandate was to acquire our assets and own them 100% and to buy out the NSRs as well. So our flagship property up until the beginning of 2019 was actually the Brett Epithermal project. We paid several millions of dollars for that. It's had 3,000 meters of diamond RC drilling. It's had 186 holes of diamond drilling on it. It's had a 1,500-foot drift put in there. It's had a bulk sample completed on it. It's a big system. We put together a fairly large land package there, and we paid several millions of dollars to acquire that asset. As a matter of fact, just before we came to the Munich show in 2019, we just bought out the remainder of the NSR on the Brett project, and that was going to be what we could consider to be the big elephant in the room, where we feel we have the potential to build multi-million ounce type deposit. There's various different gold systems in there, free gold. It's disseminated widely in the wall rocks. It's a big system in there. Anyways, we own that 100%, and that's just north of Vernon there. But in early 2019, we had an opportunity to acquire the Kennville Mine. It came to us. It's an asset we've been looking at for a very long time. It's one of the first load gold mines ever put into production in BC. And we'd been negotiating with them for several years to acquire that asset. Unfortunately, it was held privately. And there was one director, and I was about to fly down and meet him in January 2019, and he passed away. The major creditor to that company was owed about $2.5 million. And we got to know each other over the last several years. So we worked out an arrangement where we could acquire his position in the company in exchange for Ximen shares at 70 and 80 cents. And then what we did is we ended up working out a deal with the remaining shareholders and converting them into Ximen shareholders as well. That project is now at the forefront of the company. It came with permits for doing the decline. It came with equipment, surface rights. It's high grade. The gentleman that's leading the project, the mine manager for us, is the last gentleman to take ore out of the facility. He spent 4 years in there drilling, and found what we consider to be the extension of the original Kennville veins. We are guessing, and this is a forward-looking statement, that we've got about 15 years of production in there, and we're targeting somewhere in 125 ton a half ounce a day. But before we get there, what we need to do is we need to complete a decline. So we're in the midst of doing that now, permitting wise. And then we're going to go down there and do some definition drilling to define what we would consider to be potential ore. And I say that, again, forward-looking statement, right? We are very optimistic about this opportunity. and we're excited about it. We've been buying equipment. We've tied in with the Kootenay. You know, it's a very green gold project, if I can say that. We've tied in with the Kootenay Dam, so we're using hydropower. We're using pneumatic drills underground, so everything's run by an air compressor that's run off electricity. We're tapping into the natural flow of the river that's coming through the mountain there on small turbines to light up the underground with LED lighting. So we're very excited about this project. It's very clean. The rock is we've hired the best firms in the province to do our engineering and our environmental and our water studies. So we're very ahead of the game. We're just waiting on one permit. They did some rule changes here in BC in October, and we just got caught in the middle of that. But it looks like things are moving forward, and so we anticipate to be breaking rock someday, any day soon. Here, we're ready to go. Anyways, we've got all the equipment. We're set up, we've tied in power, the guys are waiting to go to work. So that's going to be the forefront of the company. And hopefully, you know, as we go through that process, that'll provide some cash flow down the road for Ximen, which will allow us to advance our other projects that we have in the company.
Let us stay for a bit longer here at your Kennville mine. I read it's a historic mine. Do you have some historic numbers about the head grade, what was produced, from when was it active? Do you have some info here?
Yeah, I think Lloyd Penner was the last gentleman who's our mine manager, took ore out of there in the mid-90s was the last time that ore was taken out of there. And I believe during the 40s and 50s, the production was around 0.4 of an ounce. The drilling that Lloyd has completed between 2009, 10, 11, and 12, we hit a forest of new veins, which we believe the metallurgy matches the existing, what they were mining at Kennville. It just was sheared and shifted a little bit. So those numbers that we're looking at, we're estimating it's going to be about 0.5 of an ounce, half-ounce material up on deck. That's what we're looking at. We should have some news coming out about all this shortly, you know, and current updates, so people will be able to see the drilling that was done and what the numbers look like, right? But we have a saying, you know, in narrow vein mining, you drill for structure and you drift for grade. So if you're getting those kind of numbers when you're hitting a structure with a drill bit, what is the likelihood that you're hitting all the gold with a drill bit? Very unlikely, right? So we anticipate that, you know, when you're actually taking out the entire structure itself, that perhaps the grades may improve. So anyways, that's what we're.
And I saw already from your plans for this year that you intend to do a bulk sample for the Kennville mine. What is your RAF or your plans outlined for this year, including the permits? You mentioned this already, that you have some permits pending. If all goes well, how could it look like?
If all goes well, what we're looking to do is we would start, it's a 1,200 foot decline that we're putting in. And when we start that from start to finish, it's about a 9-month process. And about in the 6th month, what we would do is we would be looking to amend the permit to do a bulk sample, and we'd be targeting a 10,000 ton bulk sample of half-ounce gold at that time. The purpose of putting in the decline itself is that we want to get down. We're going through a series of veins that are on the west side of the original Kennville. There are some very good numbers in there, and that's why we anticipate that we could do a possible bulk sample in there. And then when we get to the bottom of the decline, we're in that area that I told you was Lloyd did about 4 years of drilling in there. And that's really the sweet spot that we want to be in to start mining. But on the way down, we might as well, you know, all good gold mines should be self-sustaining. And we think that through this process, we can become a self-sustaining operation. The original, I want to point this out too, the original Kennville, there is a 43-101 historic resource estimate of about 350,000 ounces. That historic resource estimate does not include the new area that we're going after. That's various gold amount around the property and in some of the old workings and stuff. But we're looking at a brand new area here that Lloyd spent 4 years drilling at. So that's basically what our plans are this year, is get that decline started, move into a small bulk sample, and then initially into a small underground mining permit, right?
And Christopher, still the market is for juniors not as easy as it used to be 10 years ago. I read in a different press release that you made a deal with Alumina Partners to provide you finances for the next 24 months. Do you think that would be enough to get the mine on a self-sustaining production rate?
Well, we're looking for a substantial amount of capital for working capital, you know, to pay the men and stuff till we get going. The infrastructure capital, CapEx, we own the equipment and stuff ourselves, right? So we're in a good position that way. Alumina Partners has given us what's called an $8 million line to draw down on, and that would be more than sufficient to do what we need to do. The $8 million, it's not a debt facility or anything. It's just that when we make a call for money, they convert it into a private placement in the company within the confines of the market and the TSX rules. So they are always there, and we've used them, you know, on several occasions to draw down capital as we need it, which is a very nice thing to have, right? The other thing that we've recently done, and I don't know if you saw this press release, but we brought on Laurentian Bank. So now we're working closely with one of the oldest Canadian banks that's moved into the mining area. And they've already come up and done a site visit, and we're in the middle of talks with them at looking at how we can improve what we need to do both on the market side and what our capital requirements are, so that we have some support. And also we want to bring in some, we don't have any institutional investors in the market at the moment either. So we're looking at all those options to help improve both the capital structure of the company and the outlook of the market going forward.
And I think with the, as I said at the beginning, with the tailwind in the market, it should be easier to get financings and to get going. And you also mentioned already your Brett project. We don't want to neglect this because it's a significant one. Please tell us a bit more about the resources and what you intend to do this year on this property.
Well, the Brett, as I mentioned to you earlier, it's one of the later found epithermal systems in southern British Columbia, but it's never been mined. So the gentlemen that are working with us in Ximen and our advisors were the gentlemen that did the original drift in the Brett, and a lot of the working. And I've overseen 2 drill programs on the Brett myself. I mean, the numbers and grades in there are phenomenal. I consider them to be phenomenal. The highest grade diamond drilling there was 55 feet of 1 ounce. You know, and there's multiple series of high grade structures in there. And we've recently opened up, well, last year we opened up the portal again. And so what we're doing is we're going through the permitting process to go in and do underground drilling at the Brett. There's a 1,500 feet of development there that we want to access and do some underground drilling. There's some parallel structures in there that we want to access from underground. For example, the first structure to the east of the main shear zone, the best diamond drill hole in there is 4.9 ounces over 1.3 meters. So it's extremely high grade. Now the wall rock in between is also disseminated with gold, 2 to 5 grams of gold. You know, so we have a lot of opportunity there to expand that resource, and we built a very large land package there, hopefully covering what we think is the area of greatest concern for us. So this year's plans, if provided everything goes well, we get the Kennville up and going, and then we get our permits on the underground for the Brett, and we get into the Brett and do some underground drilling in there as well.
And Chris, close to the end, we don't want to neglect some sweeties. You are not finished with all the projects. You have more. You have the Treasure Mountain and Amelia. Please give us a rough summary. What's to expect there?
Yeah, well, the Treasure Mountain Silver Project is around the past-producing Haldra Silver Mine, and I've been working in that area for over 14 years. It's an exciting area. And Ximen has acquired a big land position in there, over 10,000 hectares, which we've optioned off to another company to help advance. And that position there is part of what we consider to be a bigger system in there, and it's right adjacent to the past producing Haldor silver ground. It's been clear that the whole district needs to be put together, and that opportunity will unfold as it does. It's a lead zinc silver project. Again, one of our advisors to the company was the mine manager there and ran the Haldor silver mine, and Lloyd Penner, who's running our Kennville operation, was involved in the underground development at the Haldor silver. So we've got a lot of experience in high-grade underground mining and a lot of experience with our projects. So that's the Treasure Mountain project. The Amelia Goldmine is a phenomenal project. It's an opportunity we just couldn't resist, right? It's the second producing lode gold mine ever to go into production in BC. It's a high-grade vein. We've acquired all the Crown grants, so we have the surface rights, the underground rights, and we've been tying together all the mineral titles so that we have a land package. And I think we're just about done now. I acquired one of the last mineral titles just recently. But that alone is a company builder, in my opinion. We could, that asset alone could build a small junior. So we're very excited about that. We own it 100%. We own the NSRs on that. And it's just sitting there waiting for an opportunity. We have a lot on our plate, Jan. What we've been doing is, while the market's been chasing momentum, you know, cannabis stocks and cryptocurrencies and stuff, over the last 5 years, we've been grinding out and sticking to our knitting, so to speak, and acquiring high-grade gold, precious metal assets in southern British Columbia in hopes of a turn where investors come back and say, you know what, I'm going to buy into a company where they've built value. And that's what I think we've done here. We've been acquiring and building value in this company. It's not reflected in our share price yet, but we haven't been doing badly. We've been doing a lot better than a lot of other juniors, and we've been able to raise capital. We've been able to advance things. So I'm excited that when the retail investment opportunity or momentum changes, and like with the gold price now, I mean, you must read Gold in Gold We Trust. You know that report?
Of course.
Yeah, I love that report. It's like the Bible to me. I read it all the time. I've been reading it several years, and we sponsored it this year, and we plan to continue sponsoring it. It's a must read if you believe in the precious metal space. That's my opinion. We think we're just at the beginning of what's really going to be a phenomenal gold market. I don't believe in fiat currencies. They've all failed over time. None of them are backed with, gold.
You don't have to convince me on that.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, you know, all the central banks in the world, around the world, have been buying gold. So, you know, I think it's just a matter of time when the market and investors are going to say, you know what, it's time for us to get a position in a company that's got real value. And we're hoping that Ximen is the company that delivers that value, right? Mm-hmm. So there's your
that was a great final statement. You have a busy year ahead of you. I hope to see you at the PDAC, and thanks a lot. And for this discussion, have a good day, and I go home now. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Pleasure to talk. Bye-bye, Jan.
Bye-bye.